Welcome back to Get Down to Business. We are the show all about small business, jobs, and entrepreneurship, and I'm thrilled to be joined by my friend, Linda Nicholls of IMC Solutions, joining us here in studio. Happy New Year to you, Linda.
Happy New Year to you, too.
Well, we're all set for 2017. I just had a great conversation with Barbara Singal of Ease the Day, talking about preparing operations, preparing businesses to get to the next level. But so many businesses don't have the resources in-house right now to really be ready for the clients that hopefully they'll be bringing on, the projects that they'll be sort of intaking. And Linda, what sort of things should a business be getting ready for? How can they take the steps to really plan for a truly successful 2017?
That's a loaded question. Thank you.
I know.
Well, it always boils down to the talent that you've got on staff right now. And planning for the talent that you may also need to acquire, and then also planning for replacing talent that might be departing through retirements or job elimination. No business can do anything without the people in it that perform the services and do the work.
Interesting. So let's talk about the people that that folks have on hand right now, and that's a conversation that you and I have had in the past on this program regarding leadership development. Many companies have been blessed with fantastic talent, but maybe they're not leveraging that talent, and maybe they're not really thinking about what's next for those people. Let's talk about leadership development and talent development. What can a small business owner that might not have their HR resources in-house do or start thinking about?
Good question. It does really boil down to analyzing the skills and capabilities of your current staff, seeing how they might improve upon those skills and perhaps take on another responsibility. That's career development for the employee, and it's business development of a sort, internal for the business owner itself. So if you can get your people to do more, to increase their skill level through training, through practice, through coaching and mentoring, you've got a more productive workforce.
Interesting. So is there anything that our listeners can do regarding succession planning, both for themselves as a business owner, as well as maybe in teaching or educating their staff in really thinking about what's next in their role in terms of their own development, but also in their own replacements? And I know that's not an easy discussion to have.
It's a whole topic in and of itself, but truly every business owner and every manager has to think about succession planning. You have to think about, I'm going to lose an employee at some point in time, either because they retire or maybe the spouse gets transferred and they move away, or they decide to move on to a different opportunity. It doesn't matter what the cause is. How do you replace that knowledge, that skill, that experience? And do you want to do it when a gun is to your head, so to speak, or do you want to plan for it by cross-training your other employees?
Sure. So, Linda, my loaded question just a few minutes ago, I mentioned about sort of getting ready for the year. And in my mind, that means that a business might be anticipating certain projects coming on board, as I said, clients, beginning with the firm or the company or product that they need to get ready to ship, and there might be talent gaps. Let's talk about those talent gaps and how companies can fill them in 2017 and beyond, and what strategies they should be utilizing. What suggestions do you have, Linda?
Everybody needs to be thinking about how they're going to fill those gaps, because we are in a talent war of sorts, and there are many, many complex reasons behind it. So as a business owner, you have to think about your timing. When do you think those projects are going to hit? You better be hiring before that time. In total, my advice would always be to hire earlier in the year rather than later. So Q1 and Q2 are the peak hiring activities out of the 12-month period. New budgets, new positions being opened up, lots of new opportunities that can come about for a variety of reasons. But it's also the best time because that's when the candidate enthusiasm is the highest. You get to the middle of the year and you have what I call job seeker apathy.
Oh, my goodness. That's interesting statistics and interesting data. But now that I think about it, it makes sense. It makes sense that companies, likely the job seekers, the enthusiasm is there, but also on the company side. But let's talk about enthusiasm on the company side, and let's talk about how enthusiasm can help and slowness, and perhaps I wouldn't want to call it laziness, because I don't think entrepreneurs are lazy, but in making hiring decisions, you sort of need to move a little bit faster than everybody else if you want to attract the people that you want. Isn't that right?
That's right. I wouldn't call it laziness at all either. It's really reticence and fear of making the wrong hiring decision. Everyone knows making the wrong hiring decision is painful and expensive. However, when you are hiring, whether you're doing it on your own by posting jobs or whether you're working with expert recruiters like in my firm, you have to be prepared to make a hiring decision when you see a candidate that meets most of your requirements, fits within your culture, can do the job. Don't wait to see more people because you're waiting for the perfect person. In this market, you'll lose them, and you'll lose them fast.
So there's got to be the healthy balance between not making the quick hiring decision, or it's always good to make a quick hiring decision, but making a hiring decision that might be the wrong choice. But also you cannot stick around and just keep pondering and see, maybe I want to meet another 10 candidates. That's probably the wrong choice. So once again, we're chatting with Linda Nicholls of IMC Solutions. They are, in big capital letters, the best when it comes to the recruitment and all this hiring guidance and advice, which is so complicated. And unless you do this full-time like Linda does, you don't know all these things, and you don't know those statistics. That's why we love having Linda on the program. But Linda, I'm also thinking that in 2017, there might be some employers that have unrealistic expectations. When the job description is 10 pages long, that's probably a bad idea.
Absolutely a bad idea. And again, in a market where we're fighting for talent, you have to make your hiring decisions, your list shorter. Your job description needs to be real. It needs to be thoroughly thought out. But think about, what could I live without if I had to? And you can do that a little bit easier sometime if you, depending on the complexity of the position and the need, and you know it's going to be a long search, see if you can hire a consultant that has 50% of those skills, 70% of those skills that can help get you through the hump while you're looking for the perfect person. But in the end, we have to realize we're hiring human beings, not robots. So make that job description shorter rather than longer.
Very, very interesting. Linda, we've got about a minute and a half remaining, and I'm curious, again, as we plan for hopefully a successful 2017, I know you mentioned that the energy is there right now in January and February over the course of Q1 and Q2 of the year. In terms of planning, do you think it makes sense that if an employer anticipates a project coming in even several months from now, do you think it makes sense to start the recruiting process and maybe even the training process sort of preempting what the decisions that need to be made?
I couldn't give better advice than that, Shalom. Absolutely.
So, Linda, many of our listeners hopefully will want to make that decision, but they just don't know where to start. That's where you come in, Linda. How can our listeners get a hold of you to have that conversation and start making the right choices in 2017?
The best way is to pick up the phone and call us at 630-637-6200. You can check out our website at imcsolutions.com or email me at lnichols@imcsolutions. That's LNICHOLLS@imcsolutions.com.
Fantastic. Linda Nicholls of IMC Solutions, we very much appreciate your insight as we move into 2017, and I cannot emphasize it enough. It's so important that everybody wants to grow in 2017. Everybody wants to have a successful year, but don't just want it and then sort of be reactive and say, oh my gosh, I have a project and it's getting started in a week, and I don't know how I'm going to service that project. That's once again where Linda Nicholls of IMC Solutions comes into the picture with both your very helpful advice, but also in helping find the right talent. So, Linda, Happy New Year to you. Looking forward to a successful 2017 for our listeners, for the companies, and of course for IMC Solutions.
And for you as well.
I
Thank you,
appreciate
Shalom.
it. Well, coming up after the break, we're going to talk about how to have a successful 2017. Everybody's making their New Year's resolutions. Everybody wants to make sure that their companies, their workplace, everybody's fit and ready, and everybody's healthy for a successful 2017. That's going to be our next conversation. We're going to talk about the Continuum Gym in Skokie, and our guests will be joining us right after this quick break. Chicago, don't touch that dial. You're listening to the show all about small business, jobs, and entrepreneurship, and we'll be right back. You could always check out my website, shalomklein.com. That's where you can download our podcast. We'll be right back.